Greetings. This is Captain Tosh Yar of the Federation Starship Enterprise. We've been pulled into your universe by an interspatial portal. We don't know if we're going to be able to get back, but my crew is working on it. Let me introduce you to them. Will, how are you?
Hello. I'm fine. I wasn't gonna play. You knew I wasn't gonna play along with that.
I know. Well, it's ruined. Here's Benji.
Meow.
Hi, Benji. How are you?
Good. I want wet food and I want to fuck. And Dalton.
Problematic gay alert.
I got the moans.
I'm gonna use that. I want wet food. And I want fuck.
I like sauces. Here's Ken. Ken, how are you?
You're in good hands with Tribbles. I'm good. How are you?
Living the dream.
I also may not want wet food, but the other part possibly.
Ooh, Ken's horny, everybody. Let's bring in Krista. Krista, how are you? Are you horny tonight?
I am. I would enjoy a wet fuck, but also the person's name has got to be Gilbert Manhandle. Gilbert Manhandle. And I'm just saying, it's my new Reddit fucking name. You've heard it here first. I'm enjoying a wet fuck as we speak. I'm very controlled up here.
Well, speaking of being manhandled, let's bring in our co-host, Trevor. How are you, darling?
I was okay, and then this happened.
Be specific.
He came here for the wet food and to fuck, and he's all out of wet food.
I normally don't come here for the fucking. I go down the hall for that, but I did have wet food.
Sure, baby, we know you love it.
Be a little more generous to the rest of the rooms of your house.
I mean, I could name them off, but I'm not going to.
Oh boy.
That's private.
It's personal.
That's private.
It's world record to off the rails.
Fucking
Actually, I think it's all of them but this room.
Canada.
Anyway, welcome to the
never done it in
salon. Everyone, go ahead and mute yourselves if you don't mind. Oh, goodness. Welcome to the salon. So excited to have everyone here. Happy Halloween to those who celebrate. And if you don't, get a life. Just kidding. Do you? It's totally fine. I'm vamping to bring in a couple of slides that I forgot to add. Tosh Yar is not as effective and good at his job as Tasha Yar was. Forgive me. But cool. That did not work. We are talking about Star Trek Lower Decks this evening, and I am not able to share my slides. Fun. Love it. Love everything about it. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do it live. Get excited. How is everybody? Vamp with me. Trevor, how are you? I already asked, but tell me again.
Apparently, we all want wet food and sex. And we're all out of wet food. So, according to Will,
it's not vamping on Halloween; it's vampiring. That's what I'm saying.
Well, we do have at least 3 Deltons on screen right now, so at least half of us want to fuck.
I mean, I'm not saying no.
So then you're saying yes.
I mean, listen, just I am going on a work trip to my home state of Arizona, and
Arizona.
Some of my
not in the news anytime soon.
Friends might be helping me with wet food, actually, and the other things.
How does one help it? Never mind. I don't want to know.
There's some really good food in Arizona. I'll just say that. Anyway,
Yes.
we're gonna try it this way. Quick announcement before we get into it. This is
So
for
quick.
a chaotic salon. This is not our best.
Not
Apologies.
exactly catching us at our best.
Uh,
That much is certain.
That
that
much is
much, that much is certain.
Yeah.
There are more ways to enjoy this chaos. We have a website. We're on YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, Spotify, and Patreon at Salon Trek. We would love to have you following us in all of the places. Please do. But that is not even what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about Star Trek Lower Decks Season 5, Episode 3. Get excited. But before we do that, we simply must set an intention.
It wasn't scary, was it? I tried. Anyway, yes, we must. Maybe if I turn out the light. And let's do it again. No, I'm kidding. Okay. No. All right.
Take two.
To set an intention this evening, I thought it would be fun if we went around the room and discussed who in the Trek universe we would most likely date and then forget to break up with. As always, I will start us off by sharing that the person in the Trek universe I am most likely to date and then forget to break up with is probably Vedic Bareil.
Ooh.
He looks good with his shirt off. He's slightly charismatic, but he's also boring as fuck. So I think at some point that monotone whatever would just drive me to forget to even call him at some point, and I would just
I think we
completely forget
talked
to break
about
up.
it.
I feel like we broke up at the temple, but no, yes. I don't know if it was his orb or just an orb. Anyway, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And apparently, Stan fell into a subspace fissure. But why don't we go next door to Krista? Krista, who in the Trek universe are you most likely to get it on with and then forget to ditch?
See, I have problems with this question because
I don't care.
in my real life, it was never ambiguous. We were done. It
Right.
was never I just sort of slink out. But if I would slink out, it's a tie between Lorca, because there's just something wrong about him, and
But so right.
But so right, and I think I would be nervous at the consequences of it, so I would just probably just peace out quietly. But my real answer is going to be Jillian. I would stop milking her and I would just leave the aquarium. That's my standard answer for everything at this point. It's Jillian and or a goatee.
You thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
I do like the Bad Boys, Jay. There's something about Bad Boys, but Lorca was yeah.
And humpbacks. Bad boys and humpbacks.
And humpbacks. Speaking of wet food. Oh, that's my phone. Sorry.
Oh. It actually seemed like an
There's
appropriate
Jillian
sound
right now.
effect.
Wet food.
Transition.
Hold on.
Ken, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Who are you going to date and forget about?
Landrew, because I would be all about festival, and then I would stop. And then everyone would ask me if I was of the body or if I wanted somebody's body or something like that. And I'd be like, no. And then people would take these big sticks and point at me and try to get me back in. And I'd be like, fuck you. Then Landrew, I would forget. Was that the question? Landrew?
It was,
No?
but you just basically described your last trip to Palm Springs, but it's fine.
That's not true. There was no big sticks in Palm Springs.
Anyway, moving on. Benji.
Not of the body.
My pick is who I think is the most forgettable fuckboy in the Star Trek universe, which is Ethan Peck's Spock.
Okay.
Total himbo, backup boy vibes. He's just there when you need him. Gets broody once in a while. Just give him a little attention, throw him a bone, and he's happy
He
again.
does.
He's
He
happy as a
does
ball.
often forget to have those critical conversations.
Yeah.
And the spitties. Don't forget the spitties.
They made him shave those spitties. For that alone.
Maybe he chose to.
Space crime.
Anywho's. Speaking of spitties, Will, that was not a good transition.
Oh yeah, no, I was offended. I don't know. There would be no one I would date in the Star Trek universe. I wouldn't date a single one of them. I don't date nerds. They're fucking nerds. I don't date nerds.
I'm sorry, you just told me about a date that you just went on, and he
I
sounded
know, I'm
very
fucking kidding.
nerdy.
I did. There's literally. I was racking my brain who I would like be like. Oh, I would probably I wouldn't forget to break up with someone. I would forget that we were dating. That's more my speed. Where I was like, oh, we didn't actually talk about that. That's more my speed, and that could be anyone on the ship.
Literally anyone.
Any quasi homosexual in Starfleet. I feel like that might be like
Mariner.
Yeah, it'd probably be like me and Mariner forget we're dating. That would be something that would happen. Like, oh yeah, we were doing that. Like that would be the relationship. I'd go Mariner. We'd forget, and we'd be like, oh, whatever. It'd be the opposite of this episode. We would just forget.
I'll give you one more. I'll allow it, just because it's so fun to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Fearless leader.
I feel like
mirror universe version of Stan. I don't know who the fuck you are right now.
Nobody does. Certainly not me. I feel like, you know how Garrick and Bashir are dating without saying it? I feel like that would happen with me and Garrick as well. Like, we would just be two queers having a good lunch and then enjoying the warmth together, because I do like to be warm.
Wet food, then okay, got it.
And then a hot slab. And we would probably just never have the conversation about what we are, just enjoy each other until I pull a Jennifer and get transferred. And that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay.
Excellent intention setter, as always, Commodore Trev. Thank you very much. All right, y'all. Let's talk about today's episode. One quick note, credit where credit is due. This doesn't happen often, but I will say thank you, Paramount. This episode became available much earlier last night than I was anticipating, and that was a lovely gift because I got to watch it before my bedtime and get to bed at my bedtime, because 11:20ish, when it normally is available, is past this old man's bedtime. I work DC hours, don't come for me. I am super excited to talk about it. Let's get into our top thoughts. I will kick off this section. This was a fun episode. It's not my favorite. On my first watch, the first half of it, I was like, I take it or leave it. On rewatch, I'm enjoying it more. There's some fun stuff in here. There's some good character development. The ruse that Jennifer, spoiler alert, plays gives a nice, silly Lower Decks style basis for some Mariner growth. Talin was super fun in this episode, being able to play the tubes and vibing right. And I just also love the general concept of this cruise ship that is just like parked somewhere for people to come to. I liked the Badmiral twist. Although I have some thoughts about going AWOL versus just choosing to retire instead. But I like that he found a new purpose later on, which I think is delightful. Instead of getting rid of people, maybe find good purpose for them. And not to say that milking space whales is a bad purpose. Agriculture is important. So yeah, it was fun. And I do like that there seems to be, similar to season 4, if there is a through line from the entire season, it looks like we're going into a multiverse of Lower Decks madness here with the tiny Voyager, which also final thought, loved that multi-layered joke of an Intrepid class starship lost, the interdimensionality of it, tiny little Voyager, which we saw, or tiny little Intrepid, like when it was made a Christmas tree ornament. Super cute, super fun. There's some interesting stuff here, but and a long Boimler scream. Will, your top thoughts?
Um, uh, I had to. So last week I talked about how I liked the pace of the episodes. It felt like there was so much happening, but it felt like the pace was really good, and it felt like the episode was really dense, and there's a lot of information. It moved really well. This episode I thought moved too fast in the first half, where I thought I like restarted the episode because I thought I missed something or accidentally fast forwarded the um the episode. So like I don't know, it's fine. The second half was far better than the first half, but yeah, no, it was just kind of strange. It was good, like the character stuff is good, the stuff with Boimler and Mariner was good, but yeah, so far this season not my favorite episode, but I thought there was some good stuff, some fun stuff that happened, and like the tiny Voyager or the tiny Intrepid class is really funny, but like yeah, I don't know, it felt like I missed the first part of the episode for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know. Anyway, but no, it was good. I mean, not much to report. It was funny. I mean, there was good stuff, funny things. I just didn't blow me away this week. Benji.
Was that for me?
Yeah, that was me going Benji. Yeah.
I only have one thing to talk about because I was so like Mike McMahon just starstruck me immediately 2 weeks ago. Right here, I said I wanted a Parliament class USS Winnipeg, which is where I'm from, and today we got the USS Manitoba, which is just as good. I'm satisfied. It just can't be a Parliament class because that would break the naming convention. So I have decided that it's an Obina class because I want it to be a class from Lower Decks, and my Delton-cation character is the commanding officer of the USS Manitoba. That's my headcanon, and in season 6,
And that
when
captain
Netflix picks it up, we're getting this girl. Yeah, I sort of like could not see past it. I was like flying high on that all day until I watched it again. And just like the other thing that hit me that I just love about this show is that, like, I mean, they do it in almost every episode at this point, but it's like the thing that would be like the main thing of an episode of TNG, like the metal goop or something, that would be like the plot. That's always like the backdrop to what is happening with the interpersonal stuff, and they're just like always cool with it. They're still super excited and interested in it, but they're not like worried about it or concerned because they know they can handle it. And it's just one of my favorite things about the show, and I love it every time they do it that way, which is most episodes. Ken.
Well, I thought that this episode was very interesting. It seemed to me that it had some very interesting homages to both James Bond and to Indiana Jones. There was definitely the scene where they were chasing through the city with the rickshaw was very much like what they did in the last Indiana Jones movie. And there have been plenty of scenes where James Bond is skiing and goes through things like that. So I was just thinking that this is a very interesting homage to both those action franchises. Could be wrong, but that's what went through my head throughout it. I also really liked sort of the homage to Dungeons and Dragons dice with the with her counting the sides and changing the name of the thing as it's going. I thought it was an interesting. It was an interesting thing. Interesting to see Boimler doing the thing with I'm just not good with character names on this show. It just is the way it is. The first officer and the engineer just having their sexy thing going on while they're traveling through. And I thought, as they were building this up, I thought, okay, we're going to see a legacy character with this admiral, and they didn't. We didn't, but it was still kind of cool. So, overall, I thought it was a very change of pace episode. And again, they got in the big character elements, especially between Jennifer and Mariner. Um, and it was good to see sort of Tendi back in the swing of things. And it was also really fun to see the kinds of things they were doing with Tallinn, being Vulcan and really enjoying music. Now, overall, that's my top thoughts. I thought it was well done, different. I would agree with Will. It's not the best of the episodes that we've seen so far, but it took some risks, and I thought it was kind of cool.
Me now. I like the callback to Dixon Hill. I thought that was funny that they have a whole series of escapades. I enjoyed the suggestion that you can't actually consider it a breakup if you just hand a candle back. Like, you have to actually phase Ronan into non-existence in order for it to be a true breakup, which sort of cracked me up. I think Tallinn, her just dry delivery is very funny. But I agree, it was kind of a filler episode. It had its funny parts. I enjoyed I don't know if anybody got the Apocalypse Now, Kurtz, Joseph Conrad of the Admiral, where he was rubbing lotion on his head. If anyone's seen that movie, that was a full call out, which I appreciated.
The Admiral is apparently named after the screenwriter of that movie.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then somebody got it.
Thank you, Trek Movie, for that fun fact.
So that was deliberate. I am disturbed to think that it is only Mondays that that happy hour can be extended. I don't think we need to be that isolationist. Thank you. Isn't there enough? And the big floating space yacht being called the Cosmic Duchess. It's perfect. It's funny, but there's nothing. It did nothing. I mean, Ranson is still a retired professional beach volleyball player. It did nothing as far as, for me. The only thing I caught was, what's with these weird random spatial fissures. This is 3 episodes in a row now. We've got these random things, and maybe that's a theme. I don't know. And I had some wine, but I found some shit funny. I like the show. That's it.
I'm gonna get a T-shirt for Krista that just says, I like the show. I found some shit funny. I'm glad I'm going last because I feel like I'm the only one that really loved this episode. I don't know what it was that, like, it's weird because Will said that the pace seemed too fast. Uh-oh. Can you guys still see me?
I can.
Okay. Sorry.
You've frozen on my end. Nope, you're back.
Am I back? Okay. Sorry. My computer
There's some subspace distortion, but we can still hear you and see you in disjointed bits.
What is it with people falling into subspace fissures? Anyway, I'm back. Will was talking about the pacing. I found this one, I don't know, easier to follow. Now, it's possible that I was just paying better attention and I was less distracted. So I'm not going to claim that I'm right and Will's wrong. I'm just going to say, like, it just landed differently for me this week. I do think that I'm not dragging her. I'm just there's a definitely more subtlety in the humor this week. So I think that might be why it just didn't land for some, because like we're used to like sort of the big laughs, and there weren't as many of them. But I think my favorite callback of all time happened in this episode, that they referenced the creepy tube player from We'll Always Have Paris from TNG season 1. It's just nuts that now I will say that when Talin plays the tubes, she does it less suggestively than the French tube player does in We'll Always Have Paris. He's not really making extra motions. He's just sort of going all up and down on it, which is super creepy and weird. But loved sorry, Krista. I think I broke Krista. I loved it. It was a great reference. I maybe the fact that this did have some James Bond vibes is another reason why I enjoyed it so much. And just the fact that the show makes fun of itself by acknowledging that we never really saw a breakup between Jennifer and Mariner, so they decided to make that an entire subplot, is hilarious to me. So loved that. Loved the humor, loved the tubes. And yeah, that's all I got. Oh, wait, one more thing. I do have one more thing. When the hover golf cart crashes and they're all flying, or no, when maybe it was when the massive dice piece finally explodes. So when the die blows up and they all come flying out of it, and everyone's screaming except Talin, and she's just holding the tubes like flying through the air. That, I don't know. Again, the subtlety got me this week, and so that I think was probably my biggest laugh of the episode.
Excellent top thoughts as always, but let's deep dive. Let's talk about these lower deckers and the fun that they got to have this week. Let's go a little bit out of order and talk about Boimler's fun little journey. My favorite Boimler scream, I think, of the entire show. This episode, him falling off of that cliff skiing, and just, there was something about that scream that it wasn't just the length of the scream, but like how quiet it was because we saw it from far away. It was just fucking hilarious to me. So Boimler is pulled aside by Ransom and gets this side mission, but then he starts to think, thanks to Ensign No Hands, that it's because he wants to be he needs somebody to put in danger. What do we think about Boimler's side hustle in this episode?
I just have a question. Is this the first time, or did I just not notice that Jet's last name is Manhaver?
I don't think they have named it before.
I don't know. That again just tickled me, and I mean, for many reasons, not the least of which is that Jet can Manhaver. Like, that's, yeah. Anyway, Jet's an animated hottie. That's all I got.
Ken,
I think it's hard to there's not a lot that reminds you on an episode to episode basis that this is a cartoon animated show, and that fall from Boimler where he's just screaming and going down, that did sort of strike me as a little bit of a Simpsons or Looney Tune kind of moment, but it still worked. But it was still it was fun to see that, here's a show that, yes, it's animated, and yes, it's a cartoon, but in some ways it's almost like a bit of an homage to remind people that, yeah, we're an animated cartoon, and here's a little bit of what you might think from Wile E. Coyote or Homer Simpson falling off a cliff, but it still works within the universe they're trying to do, and it was still great. So I thought that was amazing. And then Boimler, I guess, growing the beard or whatever he's trying to do there, I guess, is a throwback to the Boimler from the alternate universe that he thought was really cool. So it's interesting to see how that goes. And then, of course, seeing Boimler at the end where he greases himself up, and very James Bond-ish moment, is just like, all right, here's Boimler being all sexy and, being the superhero moment of Boimler. So you got to sort of see the Wile E. Coyote moment of Boimler, and you got to see sort of the superhero moment of Boimler. It was an interesting arc, the whole episode with him.
Will or Benji, any thoughts on Boimler and his side hustle in this episode?
I'm just wondering if he's gonna get like, is he gonna get like one more whisker per episode until he has like a really shitty teenage whisker beard, and then somebody forces him to shave it off in the last episode.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He does have a
He
few
has a
more
few-
lines on
Yeah,
his
I was
now.
surprised that they actually like kept something like doing physical changes over a season. Doesn't happen a lot. Yeah, not much to say. I did love the lazy river scene when they're like, you know, moving towards their destination on their mission on a lazy river. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Cracking me
Very,
up.
very Apocalypse Now, Lazy River, which is kind of fucking hilarious. And it's a very layered joke to be referencing that movie on a lazy river.
I watched that for university 20 years ago. I remember nothing.
I thought it was super fun. I do have a lot of thoughts on the basic premise of this admiral choosing to go AWOL rather than retire if he wasn't happy in Starfleet. But it kind of reminded me of Admiral Buenamigo. Is like, if he had a boring assignment, like, well, then just do something else. He's like, no, I'm going to make these murderous starships. But I do love that Starfleet now just has this long-standing problem. It's again something that Lower Decks does really well of being self-referential, but also referential of the franchise as a whole. Like the whole Badmiral trope. This was a really benign, funny version of it. And I'm glad that while I am an advocate of enjoying your retirement, I am glad that they found a real purpose for him, if not agriculture, as I said earlier. But Boimler's growth in this episode, I thought was really interesting to see. With that, like, he had a little bit of conflict with Ransom because of the misunderstanding, and then the Badmiral of it all, and being able to turn that around. And it was his idea to be like, hey, you don't like what you're doing, how about you help this intrepid little starship?
But why wasn't he court-martialed for mutiny?
Well, technically not mutiny, but going AWOL. But yes, that part. Great question.
But he had like his own little army and turned against Starfleet.
He
had a
did
militia.
order some random vacationers to take up arms against fellow Starfleet officers.
And
That
they
is
tied
true.
them up. Yeah.
But didn't Worf once take up arms against fellow vacationers?
Sure.
Listen, I hate Worf, so you can't use him as an example to get me to agree with you, because you know I'm already there.
But in canon, no. But like, but canonically, he did do the same thing, just for a shorter period of time.
Well, listen, they should have court-martialed Worf before that episode, but yes.
Several times. Yes, I was going to say. Yeah.
Listen, we're all right, okay? Everybody's right.
The kids
Except
are
when you hold up your right
alright.
hand and say that it's east and not west. That's very
It
confusing.
was for me. Okay. This
Sorry, guys.
is the right side of
Pre-show-
my screen when I'm
pre-show
looking
callback.
here, and now I understand that it is actually, this appears to be the left of me. So my shit is completely wrong then, right?
Yeah.
My badge and my
No.
comm. My
I
badge.
intentionally
Now or
put
just in
mine.
general?
I intentionally put mine on the wrong side so that it would appear the way it does on TV.
If you're just tuning in
Well,
and you
now-
ever have a desire to piss off Stan, ask him which way would be east and which way would be west. And mirrored
I'm not
screen.
pissed. I was just confused.
I'm not pissed.
I'm just another universe captain. I'm just confused about how things work in this reality.
I can't.
Okay, let's talk about I'm trying to find it. Nope. Where is it? Let's talk about Talin. Thought she had a delightful set of things to do in this episode. I thought it was really cute that she has a favorite musician that happens to play this bullshit, and then she gets to play it. Thoughts about Talin in this episode, y'all?
I want to just get high and watch her play that at a laser show. That's
Yes.
just like fucking great. I hope she gets like a solo in the soundtrack when they release it. That's all I can say.
Eating is more intimate than mating. And I just want you to think about that for a second. I'm married to a chef. I'll mute myself now.
Listen, I'm fat. I fully agree. And I'm single.
There's definitely something to be said for eating, the joys of eating. I agree with that. So, but it depends on what you're eating and what you're putting in your mouth at the time. But yes.
Ass, eating ass.
No. See,
Speaking of wet food.
Speaking of wet food.
Problematic gay alert.
Can I get a all-you-can-eat buffet of wet food?
You thirsty bitch.
In the arms of the angel.
Beautiful.
Classy. I'm all class.
Mm-hmm.
we
In
are.
case you're
Anyway.
just joining us.
All class. All class.
If you're now just joining us, we're talking about eating wet food. Anyway, Talin, anytime she's like on screen or has like a moment, I'm like immediately excited because I love really dry humor, and they could not have written any drier jokes this episode for her.
No wet food
Like
for her.
No, not dry kibble, mama, kibble,
Yeah,
dusty
dry, yeah,
kibble. But yeah, it was great. I'm glad she's getting screen time again because I was kind of missing her the first couple episodes. But yeah, no, anytime she's on screen, I'm down. And like her with what did you say with the autograph? She goes, "Oh, I'll hold on to this in case I need to study handwriting." And I'm like, yeah, that's fucking hilarious.
Have they put
That's
Gabrielle
great.
Ruiz in the opening credits yet? No, probably not. I didn't check this time.
Is she?
It is robbery that actress is not in the opening credits, and she said she was listed as a guest star as of last week. Still, anyway. That's my point. She really deserves to be main cat. Honor for Gabrielle. Yeah. I'm gonna go back to petting my Tribble now.
Welcome to Hollywood Crimes with Ken.
Wow.
ASMR.
No.
Will, you came off mute. What were your thoughts?
I don't know what it was. I think I accidentally clicked it. I don't know. I've had 2 drinks. What do you want from me? It's Halloweener. Ooh.
How about we talked a little bit about the bad Merle and Boimler. How about this fun little twist at the end that the what was it called? The Glumpus was actually an Intrepid class starship with a TNG style uniform, which frankly Voyager should have had, if not their own. Thoughts on the Endeavor?
I want to see a little Intrepid class starship go on a journey to the center of the human body, like the original Voyager should have.
Fantastic
Miss Frizzle.
Voyager.
Miss Frizzle.
Yeah.
Like the right
So it should be called Fantastic Voyager.
The joke that we've had a month from hell was hilarious.
Yes.
Like, just a
I
month?
didn't catch that.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Super
I did
fun.
notice that they're wearing TNG uniforms, which is suspicious because in their universe that means that they got an Intrepid class sooner.
Or they just did the uniforms properly. Because Voyager should have had
They should have had those
uniforms.
ones. That's true. No, you're right.
Very slightly different uniform, just
Mm.
or universe, but tiny.
Yeah.
We saw Gallimites. I know that doesn't have anything to do with the Tiny Voyager.
That's fine. We can move on.
But we had Gallimites. I think we had some like intentionally improperly pronounced alien names. I love that episode of Enterprise with the Cretaceans where they offend the fuck out of them. Glad that came back. Yeah, although there was a ton of little tiny jokes and references and like names like Expert's Demise or something. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, there were some fun one-liners in this episode. I at the beginning, I loved to Lynn's. Despite the increase in cheering, your presence is a comfort.
Yes. Also, I'm not sure the way they depicted the Gallimites. I'm not sure I can see Jedzia going out with one. I don't know. Maybe their universal translators were just turned off. They're very snarly. Oh, and not everyone carries their genitals in the same place or whatever. That's a bit of a
That's
callback.
brilliant.
That was
Yeah,
good.
that was a great callback. You got something you want to tell me? Yeah.
Sohail asked about the Jennifer and the candle callback, and we didn't specifically mention it, but
It's time. That's a great segue. I was going to just move us into talking about Jariner.
I didn't know that I was going to do that. All right, do it.
Jariner?
No. I'm saying continue.
Oh, I was just going to say, if you too would like a Salon candle, please find us at STLV and prove to us that you're a subscriber, and I'll give you one. It's only
which then
only
means
9 months away.
Next time at STLV.
We will be there. I have already booked my hotel. So, Jariner, thoughts? These messy bitches. Jennifer pretending to still be Mariner's girlfriend to get her to have a real conversation.
It was cringy, I thought, because I was thinking about other people's relationships, my old relationships and stuff like that, and I think that was the point. But, you know, when have you really broken up? How do you know if you're really truly broken up with anybody? You just don't know.
Why was that on Mariner though? Like, I'm trying to remember.
So she walked when she came back to the ship after that. She saw Jennifer, but then just walked past her.
Okay, so that puts her in the position of having to talk to her.
But I'm with Joanne on this. Like, it was kind of bullshit. Like, because didn't Jennifer basically turn on her too and was like,
yeah,
yes,
no, absolutely.
I'm like, okay, where's my apology? Because if not, like, I don't owe you a breakup.
I was thinking about that with this episode and like just the idea of closure. I've only had one boyfriend, but I've had other situations in my life where I wish that I had closure, and sometimes you just don't fucking get it, and you're not owed that. Move on. Just take your transfer and go have fun on the Manitoba.
So this is Trev gets serious for 2 seconds. No one owes you closure. You owe it to yourself. So, like, find it wherever you need to find it and gift it to yourself and move on with your life. Because the other person's not waiting around to give it to you.
That part.
Yes.
Fine, I'll throw up the banner.
Damn right,
So
I'm right.
clearly they missed the opportunity to have a bunny boiling on a stove with Jennifer. Is this
fatal? It's a fatal attraction.
It was a little single blue female. Yeah.
So did you say have a bunny boiling on the stove? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm not aware of that
fatal
euphemism.
Fatal
It's
attraction.
A fatal
yeah.
attraction.
If we're having,
is it? Oh, okay. I haven't
we're
seen
having
it.
old movie references in this episode.
Well, I've
In
seen
fairness,
it, I just
Will has
Old
not
movie
aspired to attain his.
references. I feel like Gloria fucking Swanson all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It's like
so I know that one.
Kennedy,
I don't feel comfortable in a turban. Yeah, no, I know that.
in a
That's how I
turban.
feel. I'd fucking know that. Look like
Will never prioritize
Swanson.
Will never prioritize getting his Glenn Close badge. He will get it eventually, but he hasn't sought it out yet.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
boo box.
I did see that movie she did on Netflix. That horrible horror film she did.
Gloria
That's like
Swanson.
it's a Tyler Perry film. You have to watch it. There is a point in that movie, and she utters a line that I cannot repeat. That is so funny
Have you watched
that
the
it
show?
made me laugh so hard. I had to pause. Anyway, I had to pause the movie. It's bad. Everyone go watch. I forgot the Deliverance. I think it's called. Go watch it. It's terrible. Anyway, Star Trek. But yeah, yeah. Thank you, Joe. Yep, Joanne's throwing it up. Thank you, Joanne. Yeah, there is a there. Yeah,
I've seen
it's
it.
wild. Yeah, it's so. Anyway, just have to watch it. I don't know why she did it, but anyway, it's gonna cost her another Oscar. Yeah. One day I'll tell you about the time I sat next to her at the Oscars. As a seat filler.
You should probably tell us that story now because we're at the end.
Oh, okay. So I was a seat filler at the Oscars, and this was when I think she was not. Well, I forgot what she was nominated for, but she was like the shoe-in. Like she was supposed to win. Like everyone's like, "Oh, Glenn Close has got this Oscar," and then she didn't win. And I was sitting next to her, and literally she got up. She goes, "I'm leaving," and she just left. She was so pissed because she was told that she was supposed to win it, and they had sat her up front. She had all this stuff. If I remember which Oscars it was. But she literally left. She was like, "Bye," and she just left.
They tell them that? Who tells them
Diva,
that
they buy. Yeah, they pretty much know a lot of the time. Like sorry to burst people's bubbles,
except when they don't.
That's the one that they're
it
not
was
supposed to know, but they do. Several
there.
awards.
You kind of know. So like they it's a lot of like marketing. There's a lot of parties people have to go to, and you have to talk to people, and like there's a lot of like campaigning on the end of the actor, and a lot of times depends on like the buzz you're getting for that role, but also like how much money your agent is willing to put in to basically buy it essentially for your ads. So like that's how sometimes it's easy to predict, but she was like favored to win, and she was kind of like brought up to think she was winning that year, and then she didn't, and then she left. She like got up and was like, "I'm done, bye." She was so mad. They were like, "You might need to move." Like the people told me you might have to move to let her pass. And I was like, okay. And like sitting next to Glenn Close, and they're like, "You can't talk to her, you can't do nothing." And she was sitting there talking to, I think, her husband and or whoever she was with. And then she was like, "I'm out," like as soon as she didn't win. It was crazy. Anyway.
Was it Hillbilly Elegy or The Wife?
No, it was another one.
It
was earlier than that. It was like I'll have to look. But anyway. Back to Star. Should we bring back Star Trek? Anyway, Glenn Close. She was lovely, but she didn't win, and she was fucking angry. So that's why she shows up to the Oscars wearing like.
Trek either.
I know she should have been.
I think
she should be in Star Trek.
She should be in Star Trek. Yes.
Well, they should fucking let her. Let her in Star Trek.
Am I incorrect in reading that Academy has already been awarded a second season? I haven't seen.
You got it. Season 2.
I haven't
without even. No, because it hasn't aired yet. It's like still a year out before it comes out. They basically, the studio exec said, "Hey, we love this. We're going to give you a second season," which I think is one way that they could potentially. We talked about this last time. I think that's one way that they could potentially shop the show, because they know that it's now going to have 20 episodes. If in fact Paramount Plus begins to blow apart at the seams.
John's correct. They got Holly Hunter into Trek. Why not Glenn Close? Like,
exactly.
I mean, just bring her into
the woman did the Deliverance on Netflix. I think they could get her at this point. I feel like they could.
She would make a fantastic president of the Federation in a West Wing Star Trek.
I agree. And the movie I was thinking of was The Wife.
The Wife, 2017. That's what I thought. With what's his face? The High Sparrow from Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Jonathan Pryce. Yeah, but she was supposed to win. She was favored and didn't, and she was fucking mad.
Another
she was mad. She left in a huff. As soon as they're like, "We're at commercial," she got up and she was like, "We're leaving," and she just got up and walked out. And if you look, her seat, she's not sitting there after her award was done. She left.
It seems like
anyway,
bring a date in that situation. No, Glenn's gonna leave. She's gonna lose. You can sit right here.
You gotta go. Yeah. Anyway,
Hang at the Vanity Fair party.
should we
sorry,
get
just
back on
looking-
track? I don't know what happened. I'm sorry. I
We
just shouldn't have
can.
brought up
I'm
Glenn
loving.
Close.
I'm loving Sohail's comment. She should be in an esoteric Star Trek limited series or movie called The Deleted Wife.
Yeah, the space wife.
She's just out for vengeance against Janeway.
Space Billy
Wow.
Elegy. Yeah.
The deleted wife. Yeah, that's funny.
So, do we think we're going to see the miniaturized Intrepid class again? Do we think that was just like a oneer for this episode, or do we think that's going to be with our Rift theme that seems to be popping up? Do we think that's going to be a thing?
That's
Well,
a good question, because I thought it was. Like, I thought the Rift thing was going to be the thing this season. Like, they're getting
Yeah.
a lot of stuff from different parallel universes. Like, maybe they're setting that up, because it does feel like it. Like, I thought, oh, this is the story. Like, whatever's controlling the nanites, like the Glombus, like what I definitely thought that was what they're setting for the season. So we'll see. Maybe it's just like not a through point, but kind of not like a plot line, but kind of a narrative thread, maybe something less than that, where like there's this repeated motif, but it's not necessarily like a season-long arc.
The way it felt framed at the end of the episode was that it didn't seem like it was going to come back. It would make me incredibly happy if there was like a big extravaganza in the last episode, and like the tiny Voyager has to do something tiny to save the day or something. It was involved in some way briefly.
One little ship.
On those
Maybe
shows.
tiny
Voyager-
things.
The tiny
The
Voyager
tiny
has to
runabout.
the Starfleet equivalent of Epcot Center go through the.
Body
I
I
warps.
think. Yeah.
That actually made my grandmother sick. I just want to state that right now.
It was a fun ride. It's gone now.
She vomited on that ride.
Oh my god.
No, it's a different, body wars. I think I think Mike McMahon said that they've got a subplot that they're going to carry through this whole show, where they have the opportunity with that subplot to bring back some legacy characters. And so I think the only subplot that we see developing is this spatial temporal rift thing. So it'd be interesting to see what they plan to do with it.
And watch where you point that. finger.
Indeed. Sorry, I had a work thing come up. This election is almost done.
You detached.
What, Ken? You said something, and
I said you decotched and bow tied. I mean, you detached. So you detached.
do you want to try that again?
You're staring again.
So it's like a detox, but it's a
Just-
detox.
All right, we're
Does
gonna
Ken
He
land
was
it.
Tosh. He was
Does Ken have the
Tasha.
Does Ken have the Bajoran aphasia virus? What's happening right now?
Yeah, you flew a little too close to the sun last week, and here we are. All right, y'all.
Okay.
Final thoughts on this episode. I liked it. I thought there were some good moments in here, some growth, some chaotic nonsense. I'm excited to see where this season goes. More interdimensional holes.
More holes, I say.
More holes. I've got 2 for a reason.
And wet food.
Trevor, give us the tallies, please.
We're just calling it done. All right, I would be happy to. There were 2, though probably more problematic gay alerts. There were 2, though probably more problematic ally alerts. And there was 1 tosser alert. So yay for Ken. I gave 25 bonus points and a Milky Way to Will for esoteric badge placement references. I gave 100,000 bonus points and a Kit Kat to Krista for remembering Apocalypse Now. I gave 100,000 bonus points and a regular size Snickers to Benji for forgetting Apocalypse Now. And I gave 10 bonus points and an Almond Joy to Ken for bringing props.
Nice. Fuzzy props. Fuzzy props.
I love
Always
it.
good with the fuzzy props.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back, of course, next week. Dear God, hopefully we will know who won the election. Probably not, but please get out and vote. vote for Kamala, vote for Democrats up and down that ballot. Give her a Congress that she can work with. We can stop caring about, hearing about, needing to worry about the words, the name, the person Donald Trump in just 5 days. Get out and vote. Tell your friends to vote. Tell your family to vote, please. We will see you next week, and hopefully something good will happen. And if we don't know by then, we'll talk about Star Trek, because that's what we do here. Thank you for joining us on the Salon. Please follow us, like, and subscribe in all of the places: YouTube, Twitter, Blue Sky, Patreon. We've got a free community tier that once this election is past us and I can focus on something else, we're going to be doing some fun things there. Or you can throw us a couple of dollars. I want to thank Joshua for joining us this week as a patron. Our October bonus content is now live, and it is a disaster. That's right. The commentary of Trevor's comfort episode Disaster is live on patreon.com/Salon Trek. Check it out. Until next week, live long and prosper. Thanks, y'all.